works.
Yeah, no worries. Hey guys, RotoPros live broadcast here. It's Wednesday, January 23rd. Here with Justin Savage. We're digging into the NBA slate tonight. We're going to go position by position today. I'm just trying to talk through cash and GPP plays that we like, and we'll differentiate along the way. This is RotoPros.com. We got a nice free month right now to try us out. We're a growing DFS community, and we just want to win together and learn the ropes along the way and teach you. What's up, Justin?
What's up, Josh? Yeah, no, I mean it's been about a week or maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks now. I've been with RotoPros, and it's just awesome. We got a great community. Everyone, it's just super fun to talk, daily fantasy sports and talk sports in general. I mean, we're talking baseball, even though baseball's not around yet. We're talking, football, almost Super Bowl's almost here, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it, and we got a big slate tonight to dive into. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's a good slate. I've been kind of sparingly playing lately, just kind of really trying to make sure that when I do put a little bit more in there, play a little bit more, it's a pretty good slate, and tonight looks pretty good. I got to be honest. We got some value, we got some good matchups, a lot of games, should be a good amount of variance. So yeah, without further ado, I guess also to make it a little easier, I'll focus on DraftKings, you focus on FanDuel, but again,
Yeah.
You can chip in wherever you want on DraftKings. You'll probably just chip in more with that than I will with FanDuel. So, cool. All right, point guard, obviously DraftKings. Any slate these days with James Harden in it is probably going to be the first guy that gets brought up. His price is creeping up to 13.4 now on DraftKings. So it's not like it's a value play. It's kind of like a necessary play, especially in cash. So, I mean, we've spoken about this before. Harden's kind of like unpriceable right now. He should be like 14 and a half or something. So, even if you don't like it and it takes away a good amount of your salary, Harden's pretty much a lock for cash, especially going to the Garden. Do you agree?
Oh yeah. No, Harden's he's a walking 60-point floor fantasy player, and he can, like, the other day he went 1 for 16 from the 3-point, or just something nuts. Like, he didn't make that many buckets, starting out, and he still ended up with like 70 fantasy points. And it's like, how does that happen? Like, yeah. Or finishing the first half with like 15 or 20 points, and then finishes with 75 fantasy points. It's like, yeah, okay, never fading in.
Log, let's call it like 4 out of the last like 8 games have been blowouts for one way or the other. So he has not gotten his full amount of minutes or usage in literally about 4 of the last 8, something around there. And still dropping 37, 6 and 3 in one of those blowouts, 57, 6 and 9 in one of the other blowouts. It's a joke. 43, 10 and 12 in another blowout that they won by 30. Like, this guy is no one like him right now.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. And I mean, that's just you can't fade him in cash, especially in the Garden versus New York. He's, they don't have anyone that can stop him. And I mean, even if they did have anyone that could stop him, they couldn't stop him because no one can stop him. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, Harden looks good, from the DraftKings point of view. Point guard is not Harden's a shooting guard, and so I can get to that.
Sorry, so I'll just go to the next one. For DraftKings, obviously he's one of the first point guards that you'll see. Drew Holiday is probably the second. I don't know. Well, actually, Ben Simmons is right up there too. So I think Jimmy Butler, is he definitely out tonight, or is he just questionable?
I'm not sure. I saw that he was questionable, but I also saw Ben was questionable. Did he get?
They're both questionable, I think. So I guess if in the interest of keeping it like for 2 to 3 per position for me to start at least. I'll go down to Chris Dunn as my next most interesting play. He's about 6,300. I wrote him up a little bit earlier. The Hawks can't defend point guards. Trae Young is pretty terrible defensively. And Levine's about $600 or $700 more. So, Chris Dunn gives you a little bit of a discount there. And, at home against the Hawks, this should be one of the more garbage defensive games of the night. So it'll be good to have some exposure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean at point guard, there's not too many high options I like. I mean the best option I like, even though he hasn't been stellar lately, is Lowry, Kyle Lowry with Kawhi Leonard out. It's
Totally.
He's I like him, and I also like Fred VanVleet from that game. They're both point guard eligible on FanDuel, and it's yeah, I think that they have good matchups and they're fairly priced. I mean, Lowry's like 7,600. He's not anything, or 75, I think, but he's not anything that where he can't hit value, and or he can't go like well over value in this matchup. I
Do you
do.
expect Rozier to be the most owned player of the night?
Yeah, yeah. I think him. I think, yeah. I mean, at point guard, but I think he's a lock. I mean, I think he for sure should be the highest owned player. He's just it's hard to even find a reason to fade him in cash tonight.
I'm not suggesting he's worth the fade, especially in cash, but
Right.
honestly, I would almost prefer him in this situation coming off the bench because there's no way that this is a competitive game past the second quarter or past the
I
early.
mean, that's true, but for his price, I see him easily getting value. I mean, and overvalue. Like I see him easily getting, 6x. I mean, is he 4,000 on DK?
Yeah, he's about 4K.
Yeah, and he's 45 on FanDuel, and so he's got a great matchup. Yeah, I mean he's facing a defense in Cleveland that's 29th in defense versus position. So they're terrible versus point guards, and on the season. And Terry Rozier is, his usage isn't too crazy, but he still gets the points per minute, and I really like him.
So is it safe to say that across FanDuel and DraftKings, Rozier, Van Vliet, and Harden are like three of the most popular, most highly owned cash plays of the night in terms of guards?
Yeah, in terms of guards, definitely, I would say so.
All right, cool. I'm good with point guard for now. Is there any? Obviously, look, just a couple other guys. Pat Beverly's been playing some really good ball lately. His price is going up to match that, but that's been in the wake of Gallinari being hurt and him being bumped into the starting lineup. So he's an interesting GPP play for me at point guard. Donovan Mitchell's been kind of a fun guy if you can get him right. He's been great with all the injuries. And obviously keep an eye on, the Ben Simmons news if Jimmy Butler's out or something like that. So in the interest of not saying a million names, I'll move on to shooting guard. Is there anyone else at the point guard position you'd like to mention?
Not really. I mean, for GPP purposes, I do like Trey Young. With Herder out, and with the lineup. I mean, I think he can, have one of those games where he actually makes his shots. Even though, I mean, Dunn's a fairly good defender, I just think that Trey Young could be a good GPP play if you're looking at that. But for cash purposes, I wouldn't set on him or anything. But I mean, yeah. Other than that, we have shooting guard. We did go over Harden. There's a few guys that are shooting guard, point guard eligible on DraftKings, but I mean, for FanDuel, Harden's the top play easily. We talked about him. If you were crazy enough to fade him and not, I wouldn't say don't fade him in cash, but if you're crazy enough to fade him, for DraftKings or for FanDuel, the position's kind of stacked with, you have Holiday, you have D'Angelo Russell. I think they're in good matchups. Even Marcus Smart, is with Kyrie Irving out today.
Yeah.
It really bumps Marcus Smart, it bumps Terry Rozier, it even bumps Jaylen Brown. There's a few guys where it bumps, and I do like Eric Gordon being back too, for
Is his
Houston.
minutes
So
restriction lifted?
I'm sorry.
Is his minutes restriction done and all that? Is that what they said?
Eric Gordon.
Yeah.
I think I did see that. If not, I mean, because last game I think he got like 22 or 25 minutes, but I just think he's priced enough in this matchup to to be a valuable play.
Totally. We got Aaron Baines making the nice start, making the spot start as well. All right, cool. So in terms of shooting guards for DraftKings, you mentioned him a little bit earlier. D'Angelo Russell's in a really good spot. His price, my only concern with him is his price is getting up there. He's been playing some pretty good ball lately, but on DraftKings he's literally 8K, where you're looking for 6X. So that's a lot of points.
Yeah, a little harder.
Yeah, I mean they're at home. Orlando's kind of been, they're both like equally. Brooklyn's kind of good this year, but They're not the best defensive teams.
Yeah, Brooklyn. The only way to Brooklyn can win is outscoring the other team.
Exactly. Yeah, literally. Like it seems like whenever they play like a good offense, they're not stopping them defensively. They're just trying to set it perfectly. Chris Dunn's another guy. I mentioned him earlier. You can play him at the shooting guard. So there's a couple points. There's like about four guards that I really like tonight. Especially for cash, something like Dunn or D'Angelo with Harden and we talked about Rozier and Van Vliet. There's a couple really popular names tonight, but they should be pretty easy value with the exception of Harden, who he's superhuman, so he should be value too.
But, I mean, with the value, you should be able to fit Harden, no worries.
And Jaylen Brown, that's another guy you mentioned. He's only 4,300 on DraftKings, so that's an interesting guy. He'll get less attention in terms of like the immediate bump with Kyrie out, but he especially coming off the bench, he'll be blowout proof, so he may get some extra minutes later in the game that people like Smart and Rozier may miss out on potentially.
Right.
All right, cool. I don't. Sorry.
No, I'm good. I think we can move to small forward.
All right, cool. Moving over to small forward, at least on DraftKings, Jason Tatum and Tobias Harris, I guess, are probably my and Marcus Morris, Jaylen Brown, like those types of guys that we've been talking about, are who I would think of for cash, and then potentially Ben Simmons if Jimmy Butler's out, and there's that extra usage to go around, and Ben Simmons ends up playing. Is there any who are you immediately looking towards? Pretty much most of the Celtics guys, like I mentioned, and who else on FanDuel?
Yeah, so on for small forward, I mean, he's part of my core four article, Gordon Hayward. I really like him with Kyrie Irving out, and the blowout potential. He should be coming off the bench, and just he does a lot better when Kyrie's not there because he gets more usage, he gets more play. So I like Gordon Hayward a lot, and for his price, I think he's 48 or 4,900 on FanDuel, and he's about 5,000 on DraftKings, but still has. Yeah, I mean, plenty of opportunity here. Another guy I like that I don't think many people are going to be on is Justice Winslow in this matchup. I mean, he's point guard eligible on DraftKings, I believe, as well as small forward. But yeah, I mean, he's just. I mean, he's priced up, but he's just such a good player, and in this matchup, like I really really like him. And then another player I do like that I'll probably have in a lineup is DeAndre Bembry with Herder out. The Hawks came out with a projected lineup, and DeAndre Bembry was a starting shooting guard. So I do like him playing there. And I don't know if Taurean Prince if his minutes are going to be limited, but I don't think so. I think I saw that they said
he's been back for a while now. I think he should be getting a full allotment.
Okay, cool. Well then, yeah, I mean, I do like him for cheap, small forward. But yeah, I mean, I like that Atlanta Chicago game. I think it's gonna be.
It should be a lot of offense.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's gonna be fun. So, but yeah, but those are the main guys I have. Gordon Hayward is a lock for me, and then Justice Winslow, DeAndre Bembry, Taurean Prince, maybe in a few lineups, Taurean. But yeah, those are my core guys.
And then also for DraftKings, Justin Holiday is worth mentioning. He's only 3,700 and still getting starter minutes, so he'll be popular. Moving over to the 4, probably Julius Randle is going to be one of the more popular guys with AD. He's supposed to be out for a while now. Mirotic as well, probably in that game. Is Drummond been ruled out yet, or is he questionable?
Last time I checked, he was still questionable.
So obviously, if Drummond's out for some reason, Blake Griffin would make a pretty good play. John Collins is definitely price is creeping up, but great matchup. Same for Markkanen, Jason Tatum. We're talking about the Celtics guys earlier. Ibaka could be in for a nice bump with the extra usage with Kawhi not in there. I love Spicy Peas, Pascal Siakam. He's great. Kenneth Faried, enjoying his new role in Houston.
Yeah.
Probably a couple more games until he's at the proper price. Anyone else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned most of them. I do like Blake. If Drummond is out, he's like 98 or 90, almost 10K. So that's kind of high. But Blake, without Drummond would be a really good play. Randall's a good play. He's power forward now, eligible, so he's closer to 9,000. And I do like him. LaMarcus Aldridge, I think, has a good matchup and would be lower owned. Uh, but I think Domantas Sabonis, for his price, you mentioned Lauri Markkanen. I like him for his price. But the main guy that I'm for sure locking in again is on my core four, and I do sound like that broken record here, but Marcus Morris at 5.3 with no Horford. Horford is resting tonight. I just love him. Even with the blowout potential, which I hate to even say blowout potential because you never know how games are going to go. But even with that potential, Marcus Morris at his price, huh?
Especially in the NBA, where it's
Yeah,
such a
exactly. But yeah, I mean Marcus Morris at his price with no Horford has it's like 35 or 36% usage in scenarios, and I just really like he's for like yeah he's
no, you
like
said it
one.
perfectly. He gets a massive bump when Horford's out in usage. That's that. Yeah, he's
Yeah, and they like to play small too. So even though Aaron Baines is starting, we'll get to center, but even though Aaron Baines is starting, he usually doesn't play that many minutes even when he's starting. So they like to play smaller with Marcus Morris, or I think it
tight.
was, yeah, Daniel Tice, and yeah, just some other guys. So yeah, look to lock him in. Yeah, Ojale and like Wanamaker, they randomly throw him in too.
Yeah, I don't understand his Brad Stevens rotation at all. All
Yeah.
right, cool. Moving over to the center position, Nikola Vukovic is one of my top plays. Any center going against Brooklyn is going to be, the guy to mention for me. Julius Randle, we just mentioned, especially with AD out, he's going to need to step up, and his price will probably creep into above 9K if AD is out for a while. So he's underpriced at the moment. Ibaka and Siakam, I kind of like one of them, if not both, especially for cash. It's pretty safe, and that should be a good game. With Kawhi out, I think the Pacers and the Raptors are pretty evenly matched, especially in Indiana. So that'll be a good matchup tonight. Should be a good place to go to for some value. Andre Drummond's probably an interesting GPP play because of some of the time he's missed. Nikola Jokic. Sometimes Utah is an interesting team for centers because you think automatically not to target against them, and Gobert, the Stifle Tower, is very intimidating. But I don't think they're rated very highly against the center.
Yeah, that's what's been weird to me. Like Utah's been like number one versus centers for like the past 2 years. Like they've been really good versus centers, and now this year they're ranked like 22nd in defensive versus position. It's like how like Gobert's still a really great defender, but
yeah, I don't really get like who's struggling because Gobert doesn't seem to ever be struggling.
Right. So I mean, it's he still blocks like 2.5 blocks a game and a steal per game. Like it doesn't make sense. But I mean, yeah, I do like them. More GPP side, Rudy Gobert or Nikola Jokic.
And his sponsor is getting the start for Cornet. He'll be popular at 5K. And then you have Jahlil Okafor getting the start for Anthony Davis. So there's a couple underpriced guys at center. Kenneth Faried, we mentioned earlier. Bam Adebayo. So keep Ante Zizic will be starting, but his price is absurd now. So I wouldn't care too much about that.
Cantor. I mean, you can even look at Deadman. Deadman is a guy to look for. I love Okafor. He's on my core four article today. Vucevic is
Jackson too with Gasol out.
Oh yeah. Oh, Gasol, has he been out? Or
No,
is that
I'm
new?
actually not sure. I could have called. He could be questionable, and I could be jumping the gun on that. Yeah, sorry, he's still questionable. But if
Okay. If he's out, he's going to be a big play. But yeah, no, Cantor's good. I like Whiteside for GBP. I just hate what they're doing with Whiteside's minutes. Like sometimes he won't even play the fourth quarter, or like what's going on. But then he'll play maybe 3 quarters, but he'll get like 30 fantasy points in 5 minutes in the first quarter. So it's like, how do you get that right? But yeah, I mean, I like Okafor. Like I said, Baines. I mean, you can maybe try and punt him on FanDuel. He's 3,700, and that could maybe be your drop score. But he could also, if he isn't your drop score, he can maybe go for 30 fantasy points in this matchup. So yeah, I mean, but those are the main guys. But again, in my core four article, I really talked about Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, Marcus Morris, and Jahlil Okafor. So there's some guys you might want to lock in on FanDuel and watch the lines go up.
All right, cool. Gun to your head. We know you're going to put Harden into cash, but we talked about before how you pretty much look for 6x these days,
Mm-hmm.
and 13-4, yeah, it's you're gonna 70 points. Is Harden gonna do it?
Gun to my head, yeah. I mean, it's New York in the Garden. Like I think he could do that. I mean, I think he'll be at least 48 fantasy points by half.
Yeah. So okay, fine. So you're banking the Knicks will keep it close. Probably will happen in New York.
But even if not, I mean, 48 fantasy points by half, he could do 25 and a quarter.
It's true. All right, cool. That does it for me. We got some nice lineup building time now. Anything else you want to tell the people before we go?
Stay in school and don't do drugs.
Good advice. All right, guys, RotoPros.com. We have a free month membership right now. Come check us out. Thanks. Have a good night, everybody.
Later, guys.